the one thing that I wish I learned earlier as a creative woman, is not to take this path or take this journey as most people do as a form of employment. And when I say this, I'm not saying don't expect money, don't expect payment, but like don't do it on a daily basis as a job. Don't do it as a 9 to 5. Don't wake up stressing yourself about where's the next idea gonna come from? I need to write this, I need to do this. Because here's the difference between creativity and routine. Because creativity is more like a calling. Artistry is more of a calling, and that creativity is more of a spark. And like routine is something that you have to do every day, like brush your teeth. It's something that you have to do. But being creative isn't should must do. It is a spark, it is a calling, it is a pouring, it is being poured into, and you cannot dictate to the creative gods on how and when to pour into your creative cup. I don't know if that makes sense. But yeah, right now I'm just resting in that knowledge that being a creative, being an artist is not a job. It is a way of life, it's a state of being. And anything that the reason why I'm saying it's a way of being is because everything and anything can spark your creativity, like looking at a flower or sitting idle. Anything can really spark your creativity. So for the creative for the creatives, don't put yourself out there, quote unquote, the way people that are seeking employment do. You cannot seek for creativity. Honestly, it comes to you. And another thing is that don't waste so much time being, I don't want to say used, but it's kind of being used. You see how people would work at a certain field and be like, I'm working at this level so that I can go to the next level. But being a creative isn't about levels. There isn't a more creative person than another. That's what I'm trying to say. There isn't anybody in this world that's more creative than. That's why when I see things like, you know, best filmmaker, best actor, best, it's like you cannot rank, you cannot you cannot put worth in works of art. There's no prize for that. There's no grading for that. That's why it's not um that's why I said it's not a 9 to 5. It's not a school work. It's not that. It's creativity. And it's creativity and it's being creative because it's not the norm. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think for the creatives, this is so easy to get. If you're a creative, the terms that we use for each other, I feel like we just communicate with each other without even, we don't need to go over and beyond trying to explain obvious things to us. It's like a community of its own. Creatives, it's like a community of its own. That's what I'm saying. As a creative, you cannot move like you're seeking for. You cannot move like you're devoid of. You cannot move in desperation. You cannot move like people say, put yourself out there, meet people. There's nothing wrong with that, but like, where does your creative God or where does your creativity want you to be? Because that's your guide. Most people are led by money and papers and experience and connections, but your creativity is selective. At least for me, my creativity is selective. My flow is selective of the environments that I'm in and the people that I get to be with. And this is something that if I learned earlier, I could have avoided a lot of stress or feeling like I'm left behind. There's no being left behind. Just like I said, there's no ranks. There isn't anybody that's more creative than another. It's just, you know, it is what is.